Hello. Today I decided to be a bit lazy and rather than type or do voice to text, try and do a little gameplay and chat. I would live stream it, but out where I live, interwebs not so fast. So my upload at best is like 0.6, and you need like 1 to 2 to like do some solid streams. But anyways, welcome to my GTA gameplay. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about our good friend Mr. Grumpy Cat. Not so good friend to a lot of people. But, yeah, there's a lot of heat going against him, and obviously I just recently got into a lot of drama with Michael, David, and I just wanted to make a solid case for Grumpy Cat. And to be clear, like, I'm not 100% behind Grumpy Cat. But I do respect what he's doing. I respect the aim that he's getting after. And, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of misinformation around there, so rather than writing about it during my lunch break today, I took some time to actually like sift through a lot of Grumpy Cat's posts and try and figure out firsthand what he's saying, because obviously I've been listening to a lot of perspective against him, and whenever you're getting into like a political situation like that, you really want to hear both perspectives and try to evaluate both perspectives as such, because obviously one person is going to be naturally more biased than another. And anytime you have situations where money is involved, then you're especially going to have troubles. You're especially going to need to be as distanced as possible when you're trying to figure out what's going on, because, I don't know, Steemit is very large, and like I try to make clear, I mostly know about Grumpy Cat from hearsay. I used to read a few of his posts. I mostly looked at them for the memes, but for the most part, a lot of what I know about Grumpy Cat, him, them, apparently there's a lot of different people that manages the account. It's through hearsay, which isn't the best way to get your most objective information. And like I said, that's why I tried to spend some time to actually look into a lot of the history behind his campaign against bidbot abuse. You see, that's another thing, is he is anti-bidbot abuse. I'm just flat out anti-bidbots, and I made a post about that not too long ago, explaining exactly why I think bidbots are bad, so I'm not going to go into that into heavy details, but just to refresh on the highlights, you've got the fact that bidbots oftentimes run negative ROI, and to quote, ouch, look at that, 2,000 damage, that's eek. To quote my dear friend Buzzbeer Geek, if you pay for a service that is supposed to give you money and you get less money back than you paid for, then you are in a scam. I could probably bring that up take a screenshot and show you guys sometime later when I wrote it right in the post. But actually, I probably should. I don't need to. Because it's pretty commonsensical knowledge, you know. If you're paying for a bid bot, that means you're trying to get an upvote, which means you're trying to get money back, which means if you're getting less money than you spent, then you've been scammed. There's no other way to do it. Look at that. All my top range vehicles are Gonza. I kept selling them all. Which one? Which is a pretty one? Let's just take this one. And so the problem with bid bots is that you're not going to get good ROI, especially when you have a market competitor, which is vote selling markets, both Minnow Booster and Smart Market. And you also have queue listers such as Bumper, Teapot, and disclaimer, I'm a promoter for Teapot and I'm a part of the management team for Bumper. So obviously take that with a grain of salt. But that also, I believe, would give me a degree of legitimacy in understanding the struggles, because as being on the Bumper management team, when Steam started crashing, we couldn't continue doing 300% upvotes. It just wasn't very profitable for us. And it not only wasn't profitable, we started losing money, and we're searching for delegations left and right. And the problem with searching for delegations in a bid bot dominated market is that look at the delegation market. It is all flooded with bid bots, which brings me to the second point that I had, and that is that bid bots are just flat out over flooding any market and takes it with brute force, which spikes the price up. And when you're having to pay 40, 45, 50% APR to get a delegation, you're losing money. You can't be able to provide a service for others when you're having to gouge out those prices just to be competitive to bid bots, which then should any rational, logical person would then ask, well, why are bid bots willing to pay that much? Because that's where the money is. And whether these people want to agree that it's scammy or not, amongst the servers that I'm in, amongst the groups that I'm see that ever considers it, it gets highly shut down for being scammy, because it's very clear that what you're doing is taking money and not giving back as much as you could compared to competitors, or as you should in cases of overbidding. And Michael had a really interesting comment that talked about prior to Steambot Tracker and how it used to be overfilling. The problem with that is, like, if your argument is it used to be a lot worse, that doesn't actually make Squo any better. Like, if status quo is a really bad situation, trying to point towards past and saying, well, we've gotten better, doesn't actually help in any manner. Which then brings me to the third main point, and I said I wouldn't get into depth. Sorry, guys, I lied. The third main problem I have with bid bots is that now all of a sudden you're having so many bid bots that as a vote-selling market, as Minnow Booster, as Smart Market, as Lays, as any other queue listers, obviously, like I said, Bumper and Teapot are two teams that I'm a part of. I'm not as active with Teapot anymore as I used to be, but I'm still listed as a part of the team members. and I don't get paid for it. And that's another thing that annoyed me about Michael is, like, it sounds like you're getting paid. It's like, no one's paying me. Like, I do all these tasks pro bono just because, welcome to Steemit. Half the tasks or half of the roles that you ever get are going to be unpaid. Like, if you find paid roles and you found a golden business that you're being a part of, but for the most part, all of these are unpaid, just because it's sort of an honor just to be a part of the team, you know? But anyways, it's difficult for us and them to actually go out and advertise, because for every queue lister that you have, and there's only a handful because even Echo will switch from queue listing to bid botting, for every one that you have, you're going to have 20 other bid bots out there, which means all of a sudden you're going to have problems. And when you have minnows, and that's another thing that I noticed in the comment thread, is minnows had no clue about the market alternatives. So when you have market alternatives being indirectly silenced by the sheer force of an entire bid bot market out there, then you're going to have minnows that aren't aware of the situations that they're putting themselves into. So, anyways, like I said, I'm anti-bid bot. Those are the reasons why I'm anti-bid bot. Whereas Grumpy is anti-bid bot abuse, and his whole thing is that you'll have shit posters posting utter trash, or, you know, just literal placeholders, and then using bid bots to promote their posts. And Michael tried messaging me back when I was in the Alliance, in the group, and was like, he's just anti-abuse, and he has this whole 6-day thing, and basically he was saying, like, how would it be effective? And I sort of agreed with him, and I was like, how would it be effective if you just limit your bid bot to like 3.5 days rather than 6 days before you can actually send bids? But then I looked into Grumpy Cat, and you can look into his posts, and it's the fact that he wanted a buffer period for Grumpy Cat to actually review posts, because, you know, Grumpy doesn't want to flag shit posts, or non-shit posts. He doesn't want to flag legitimate posts. He just wants to go after the shit posts. Speaking of cats, I hope you guys enjoy the 3 cat gifts at the top that I also use in almost all my blogs. So yeah, so he's trying to just flag the abusers, which is why he wanted to do compliant. And so the problem of trying to convince bid bots to try and comply to this policy, and it's a political situation, because obviously we're talking about a giant community, and he's trying to enact a policy, so he's making a political decision of trying to persuade bid bots to comply to his Grumpy Cat standard, which is 3.5 days, so that you have an entire 3.5 day buffer to be able to evaluate these posts and not flag them, which then devolves you into, how do you convince bid bots to do this? And when bid bots don't post, that means you can't actually market force Hold up. Something's being weird. The cord between my controller just cut off. That's lovely. Reconnecting. There we go. If I had any shred of dignity, I would actually edit this. But who cares? Most people probably won't read it. Or watch it, I mean. Anyways, back to rambling. So if bidbots don't post, then you can't actually use the main policy changing. Is this still messing up? Oh, yeah. Attaboy. You can't use the most effective means to enact policy, and that's the flag. Because if you're a whale and you can flag, then you have power on Steemit. And that's what Grumpy Cat is. He is a whale, or they are a whale, and thus they can be their own policy enactors. And minnows can be policy actors as well, which is why, you know, Engine Witty has, you know, his background in MLSs, or MLMs, and why he really enjoys motivating people to join behind him, because that's his background, you know? So he's naturally going to be able to, you know, do the alliance, or do any other things that he's doing to be able to rally all these minnows to, you know, try and do it against. Which is why, despite the alliance saying that they're not political, even though that they have 2 entire channels in their server dedicated to a bot. Well, not 2. They've got the Ninja server. I think they have a second channel. I can't remember. Dedicated to a bot that is politically motivated. Anyway, I'm not even going to get into that. Anyways, back to Grumpy Cat. So yeah, if you can't use the biggest policy motivator, how are you going to actually enact change? Well, one way you could do it is by attacking the customers, which brings him to explaining that people are collateral damage. And I don't necessarily disagree. I think it's a radical view, and I think if you're looking at it, I think he progresses my agenda quite well, because, you know, I would say I'm a moderate. I would say that I don't necessarily agree that customers should be flagged, but if there is someone out there flagging customers, then it's going to persuade bidbots to listen to the more reasonable side of it, which is saying, look, people are posting literal fillers. There are many accounts that just post, this is a filler, especially on comments, this is a filler. And then they're using bidbots to be able to bring those up and take away from the reward pool that actually helps the very minnows. So if you're going to try and enact change, why not go after the customers? because the customers will change the business. I mean, that's exactly what we're seeing in, real life whenever, Fox News needed reformations, people went after the companies. There's many examples of that being very effective, because businesses, be it in real life or on Steemit, their bottom line is the customers. And if the customers, say something and they, stop using the service, then they're going to follow what the customers say. So in essence, this notion of Grumpy Cat aggressively stealing, which I think is absurd, because it's a very, very weak link. Very, very weak link between, let's say, you flag someone and then you upvote yourself, which, I'm not a fan of upvoting. But if you flag someone and upvote yourself, that's apparently stealing. He's not upvoting himself because he's flagging, and he's not flagging because he's upvoting. The two are two separate, independent, mutually exclusive events, and trying to make this conspiring link between them is fallacious as hell, and not only fallacious, but it's really bad for your argumentation. And that brings me to the next thing that I also wanted to talk about, and that is whether or not whales should upvote themselves. Because ideally they shouldn't. But I was thinking about this earlier today, and let's say two worlds. World A is whales upvote themselves, and World B is whales using their money already to be able to buy votes. Now, obviously, World C is what typically happens. Whales upvote themselves and buy votes. But let's just separate those out into a dichotomy and enforce that dichotomy right there. World A is they upvote themselves. That means they're using their own VP. And if you're using your own VP, then you're not allowing yourself to gain curation from other posts. So to a certain extent, you're allowing SP to be flown indirectly towards other people by not having it directly flow towards you. Second part about that is now suddenly you're not taking away from the market, so that minnows, when they buy votes, there's a larger pool of steam power in the market to be able to sell to them. And then third is, I hate that. I wish, if anyone knows how to just stop all calls, that would be dope. I should not be recording while I'm 60% asleep. So the third point on whales upvoting themselves, the first being that they're using their SP, they're not getting as strong curation or rewards as if they were to actively seek out. The flip side of that argument is they're not giving money out to others, but this is a zero-sum game. They wouldn't try to actively give money out to others unless if they saw it as valuable content that was worth it anyways. In so much that it's valuable content that other people would vote after them insanely, and if you're a whale and you vote on something, then the likelihood of a slew of other people voting afterwards isn't as high, because you're the one that people are trying to front run. Like, as a whale, you're not going to be able to front run all too easily. And the second point being that now the market is more open, minnows can use the market to be able to buy votes, and thus, because there's more votes, more minnows have the opportunity to increase within the Steemit community than whereas if the market was entirely bought by whales. And this is what we see currently in the bid bot market anyways, is that you see whales popping in, dropping massive amounts, not caring about negative ROI, because they just want to go on trending, and they just want to be able to have their posts seen for much longer. I am going down! I am going down! How you like my suit? Anyways, the third point that I wanted to make on World A is that when whales upvote themselves, I don't know, to me they're sort of wasting their own VP. And they could easily delegate that VP and sell the votes, and this allows me for a good transition into World 2, World B, and that's that, probably better thing would be, rather than upvoting themselves, it would be delegating their votes in the SP delegation, or sell their votes through the voting markets, in which they would probably get a little less ROI, actually they would probably get a lot less ROI, because they only get about 40% of their vote value. But still, not too bad. World B is they don't vote sell, and they buy votes. That means there's fewer votes for minnows to buy, and when there's fewer votes for minnows to buy, then it is extremely hard for minnows to actually gain any visibility. Whereas if whales upvote themselves and don't buy votes, then there's a certain cap on how much visibility they can get based off their upvote value. And minnows, on the other hand, can buy more votes if they want to. Specifically, I really want to hammer this point down, you can buy extremely profitable, well, not even extremely profitable, just profitable, but you can buy profitable, and I mean liquid profitable, votes through the vote markets or Q-listers that you can't find on bidbots. Like, show me bidbots where you can get more than 250% ROI. You can't. You simply can't. There'll be the occasional one when it's like dead at night USA time and no one's trying to bid, but even now that's been dominated because you have so many people trying to optimize their bids. So it's just not profitable. But yeah, so I think it's not too terrible to vote yourself. I mean, I personally don't do it. I think it's kind of cheap. Like, just use that VP elsewhere. Anyways, on to why Grumpy Cat is good for Steemit overall. Well, I think we can agree that shit posters are bad. But maybe most of these people are right. Maybe it is wrong to punish minnows because of the activity that shitposters do. Well, like I said, if you want to change the paradigm for bid bots, you're going to have to go after the customers, because the customers will demand the change. And it also helps my side of the things, which is anti-bid bots, because if customers get flagged by Grumpy Cat, then they get that little message that says why they're flagged. And I'm probably about to start commenting on those comments to explain why bid bots are bad. But that means they're going to be able to understand more behind what bid bots means politically. And that is good, because there's so many minnows, specifically in the actual thread that Michael posted up with his fictional character. You saw people, I hate this one. You saw people that just straight up didn't know. And if you have all these minnows that don't know, then a lack of knowledge about the market out there, what opportunities that they are passing up, is bad for Steemit overall. That means you have people exploiting, or not exploiting, but just flat out using while others cannot use because they don't know, and gaining much more out of Steemit than all these minnows that don't know anything. And then finally, the thing I wanted to talk about is bid bots are hazardous. I don't think Grumpy Cat's not going to stop flagging. So when you stop pretending that it's okay to use bid bots, and bid bots don't carry a certain political message, because bid bots enable shitposters, which means if you use bid bots, that means you are paying into a service that enables shitposters. Thus, you are enabling shitposters indirectly yourself. Let me try to get a motorcycle. So, if you are making a political decision, then you are bound responsible to the actual ramifications to that political decision. And those ramifications could very well, and in my opinion, should be a flag. If you're using a bid bot, then you should be flagged, because you should know that that is a hazard. And if you don't know, then you should learn. And how else are you going to learn if you don't actually get a flag with a comment saying, look, this isn't a Grumpy Cat compliant bid bot. Don't use it. Anyways. I always forget which one is Ruffian. I think. I have tomorrow off. Yes, that's the one I was looking for. I need a faster motorcycle, though. I'm so going to lose this race. I lose almost all of them. Anyways, yeah, feel free to let me know what you think. And please don't get emotional and start slinging mud just because I have a different Steemit political stance than you. Geez, that is really annoying. And this notion of, I lost money. Well, stop using services that risk you losing money. I mean, you're the one that chose to place a bid. And yeah, it might suck the first time you do it. That's sort of Grumpy Cat's whole point of collateral damage. It's that, like, if you're trying to change, like, this scene of Steemit, you're gonna have to, like, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. Like, it sucks if high quality content gets flagged. And I don't know if Grumpy Cat does this or not, but it would be nice to see sort of how Steam Cleaners has a review and appeal. And I think if you have a quality content, then by all means appeal it. Ask Grumpy Cat to remove the flag. I don't know if you would. Apparently everyone says he doesn't listen to anyone. He sort of listened to me quite easily. And I didn't even say anything pro for him. All I did was say my political stance, which apparently is completely out of line from his, and his is a vengeful thing. God, there's so much mud slung at him. And honestly, that's why I started looking into it. Like, I get skeptical whenever someone is so harshly against someone, because if, like, everyone hates someone, then there's a good chance that it's either misunderstood or people are having their feelings played against them, and that's what's this situation, in my opinion, is that people are just having their opinions played against them. Oh, I might finish it. I did. Sweet. There's always someone here. Zoom, zoom. I got another top range, baby. Zoom, 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 zoom. That's why you don't shoot and drive, buddies. Excuse me. God, that sucks. 7K in damages already. And I'm 5 miles away from the God, this is going to suck so bad. Of course, it wouldn't help if I stopped doing that. I should probably end the recording. That way it doesn't get too long. I don't know. I think as my first recording, my first gameplay, why not just say, screw it. I don't know if I should continue doing this. Ah, here we go again. $11K in damage. I feel like this car is the perfect representation of bidbots. I might get profit, but look at all these hazards. And like if I did the actual math, I might get slight profits, but maybe not as good profits as elsewhere. God, jeez. I swear, 20,000, yep. This is the bidbot car. And dead. I got wrecked. suck at GTA, don't I? God! My car! Did you see that truck just ran right into it? RIP, 24K in damages. And we've got more, I'm going to call these guys, sneaky ninjas. Oh, crap. Yeah, this is definitely a perfect representation of the drama that went down. This is why, guys, for those of you who didn't see the drama, just lots of drama went down. Don't ever talk politics. Like, Steemit politics is just like real life politics. Don't talk about it. No one wants to hear your political opinions. And, like, you have to be politically correct. That would probably be a good title for this post. Is Grumpy Cat politically correct? Kind of sucks being kicked out of the alliance over damn political things and being accused of only caring about money, because that's why I was trying to work and try and make several different bots that help all the alliance members, such as re-Steam them and try and have like a single web page that, or a single Steemit account that allows you to just read all of alliance posts. Because that's why I was trying to do a Team Australia and Alliance charity collaboration, which got shot down 3 times. Again, I should have just shut my mouth. Like, that's the best thing to do in any of these quote-unquote families. Just shut your mouth. Reap the benefits. Shut your mouth. Don't be involved. Like, don't be active. Be active and kiss everyone's asses so that everyone's happy about you. But don't actually try and do anything inside, because only the leaders will want to do stuff, and if you suggest anything, it'll be shot down, ignored, or whatnot. That's why I was trying to become a mentor too, right? Because spending hours out of my day trying to help people is definitely financially advantageous for me. Honestly, any accusations that I only care about money should honestly be put to rest just by looking how active I am on Steemit amongst the different communities. A part of the HR department for Minnow Support Project. A part of, I just started being the mentor for Steam STEM, where I'm like actively helping people. I mean, not super active. I've helped 2 people. Like, I put in, I would say probably 25 hours a week, 30 hours a week towards people without getting paid. Towards helping communities, towards helping businesses, and towards helping minnows. And trying to outreach and convince real-life people to join. Because I've had 7 people join. All of that stuff is all for the money, right? Delivered. Yeah, I'm going to probably end it right here. That's probably a good place to end it. Actually, I'm going to end it right after I sell this baby. Alright, so yeah, this will probably, I lost half of the car's value already. If I don't get any damage hits right now, I took, what was it, 28, 25, something like that, thousand, and then 20,000 just to get this, which means 40 to 50,000 is down the drain. Max I can get out of this is 50,000. Good use of my time. Yellow on black. Whoa there. I mean, that's not wrong. Prison inmate work is kind of messed up. All chrome everything. Lowrider. Let's get some heavy lowriders. Oh yeah, there you go. Just to make them know you make money. Boom, boom. Ah, man. I kind of want to join that game. I really like kill quota. I bet there's going to be some people. Let's see. I've had to hop between so many servers just to avoid the attackers. Swerve. Yeah, I definitely shouldn't be putting in theater mode. I love theater mode, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Diddle diddle, diddle diddle. Alright, so we got what, 30k profit right now. Here we go. Oh, damn. Boom, 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 boom. Whee! Hell yeah, there you go. This is the only way to play GTA. Via theater mode or first person. I swear. She already did. Bye. Bye. Damn. Alrighty.